lot of room for people to hear information. These here we want to provide information that's helpful to everybody. So we'll go as fast or as slow as you want, ask questions if you'd like. But we're going to just kind of cover the state of things as they are today and what we're going to do going forward. So I'm going to start here. You know there's lots of sources of lead in the environment, the soil, and toys. These can come from lead plumbing, industrial sources, hunting and fishing, stained glass, other things. There's a lot of different sources for lead, but we're talking about lead service lines today. And that's what this diagram shows, that there's a number of sources in plumbing where it can come from. It's not all of these all at once, but it can be in your home. There are some homes that had lead plumbing that was a luxury item back at the turn of the century in indoor plumbing. But it can come from lead service lines, and we'll talk about what that is. One thing I want to make sure everybody knows, it's a minority of homes and businesses in Memphis that have a lead service line. But now, Memphis Light Gas and Water has been doing two things. Since 2012, we've been replacing lead service lines between the water main and the meter. That's what the MHW was. And we also treat it with an inert anti-corrosive called chlorophosphate. The source of lead comes from pipes because the pipes will corrode and release particles. We put an anti-corrosive in the water that's inert and safe for consumption, but it prevents the corrosion from happening. So that's your first line of defense. And we'll get into some details about what that looks like. So we all know that there's impacts from lead. Now this is what we're going to talk about. The lead and copper rule was instituted by EPA in 1991. They went through a revision in 2021, and that rule was finalized. And it said that MLGW and other water utilities had to do some things. And then just recently, last week, they did the lead copper rule improvement. Now, that is more stringent, lowers the level, acceptable level of any lead in any water, and sets some expectations for utilities to do things. Like, if you don't have anti-corrosion, you have to do anti-corrosion. If you have lead service lines, you must remove them in the next 10 years. That's the biggest thing. So, good news, we're already doing anti-corrosion, and we're already replacing lead service lines. I just want to give you this background because not everybody understands. There's a map of Shelby County. With the exception of Germantown, Collierville, Bartlett, and Millington, we provide water to everyone else in Shelby County, Memphis Light Gas and Water. Those municipalities have their own water systems, and they're going through the very same thing that we are going through. Now, this is a map that shows how we provide water to our customers. Those blue dots on there are the pumping stations and treatment stations that we have, treatment plants. So we have 10 of them to serve all of Shelby County, all of those customers that we have. And you'll hear some names. You'll hear Allen if you listen to our budget, because that's the one we're going to rebuild. It's a $90 million project. You'll hear about Davis Wellfield when you start talking about things down in the vicinity of President's Island and the Pigeon Industrial Park. And in the study that we did on the aquifer, there's some reaches down near Davis that people worry about. But this is how we provide water to the entire community. It's very large. These are all, each one is about 30 to 35 million gallons a day that they can produce. So I just want to talk about this for a second. This is a schematic of how we provide water to everybody. First, we have wells. You'll see we have about 110 production wells. The water from those wells, each one produces 2 million gallons a day. It goes through a collection main. There's about 56 miles of collection mains because it has to get to the pumping and treatment plant. So it goes to the treatment station, and that's where we filter it. We run it through an aerator to take any of the gases out, and then we treat it, again, with chlorophosphate and a little bit of chlorine to disinfect it downrange, and then we send it to your home. We send it to your home by very large pumps, and send that through a water main. And those water mains are largely in the street. They're 24 inches, 18 inches, 12 inches, very large pipes. They serve the fire hydrants, they serve the homes, the businesses, and everything. And also, in the system, we have boost pumps. Like way out, if you're at the very end of the line, you have to boost the pressure, so we have a pump. Boost the pressure, you can see up there at the top of tanks. We also have those water tanks that you'll see sometimes on the highway. Those store water and also produce increased pressure to make sure the pressure is high. So by the numbers, 110 wells, 10 treatment plants, We have 15 of those water towers, and people are surprised because they don't see them, and it was even with 19 of those water booster pumps. There are 74,000 valves that redirect water around our county, 31,000 fire hydrants. And then those water mains that are in the street, there's almost 4,000 miles of water main in the street, and then 51 miles of that collection main that takes the water from the wells to the treatment station. All of that is so that we can provide between 150 and 170 million gallons of water per day to our customers across the county. Now, yesterday is a good example. Yesterday was a Sunday. Our peak demand was 150 million gallons, and we actually delivered 130 million gallons. So that gives you an idea. Sunday's a pretty low day for water consumption. Many of the businesses are closed. But we do produce the highest quality water in the nation. That's not us saying that, that's the EPA saying that we do that. And everybody knows we have the best water. And to make sure it's the best, we do 40,000 tests a year to make sure that the water stays good. Now, the service line is what we're talking about today. What is a service line? That connects that water main in the street to the water meter at the curb, and then from the water meter at the curb to your house. That's the service line. That's what we're talking about. Now, why do I have this around here? Because none of this has lead in it. None of this is constructed of lead. So all of the apparatus and everything we use to produce water and distribute water, no lead concerns there. It's just in the line that goes from the street to your house. That's what we're talking about. Does that make sense? Am I going too fast, too slow?
Perfect.
Okay. So lead copper rule revision had some goals. And I'll just show you. You have to identify where it's supposed to impact it, strengthen the requirements, replace lead service lines, increase sampling, and then improve your communication, and then protect children in schools and child care facilities. The good news is we have an equity atlas that drives all the disadvantage that Justice 40 census tracks, so we know where all those are. We map all the lead service lines, and we know where they are, so we can overlap those. We have effective corrosion control. We've already been replacing lines. We do no-cost testing for our customers. And so one thing I'll say here is it 5,000 so far, or so? How many tests?
4,100.
So 4,100 tests customers have requested, and so far only 27 of those have come back with a level that exceeds the allowable level. So relatively low percentage. We work with our community advisory council, neighborhood advisory council,
Joint partner
agencies, and the neighborhood board of commissioners, city council, and communicate with our customers. And then we work with Shelby County because they have the program that protects kids in schools. And they've already done their sampling. So, oops, wrong way. Okay, so the LCRI, that goes into place in 2027. We have until 3 years to get up to speed to do that. But this basically clarifying the requirements and telling us we have to replace lead service lines is what we're already doing. So here's the timeline. We're going to have this available for everybody online so you can see all this. But the timeline is we started back then. October 16th, we had to have our inventory due. Now, who's doing this? You see that primacy package? EPA says the state's environmental conservation organization is the primacy agency that holds people accountable for this. So we report all of our results to TDEC, Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. They're the ones that enforce this rule in Tennessee. Our inventory has already been done and accepted by the state, so we're in our timeline. And what we have to show in our inventory is it made of lead? Is it made of galvanized? Galvanized, I haven't talked about. Galvanized is another kind of metal. It can be a steel metal, but that galvanized is a little rough. It can catch lead particles if there are any in the system. So they worry about that releasing lead particles. So if it's galvanized, we have to replace that as well. So then we tell people if it's non-lead and unknown. So this is what a lead service line looks like. We did our inventory and see that we're going to go out. Anything that is unknown, we're going to test it to determine what it's made of. We have to get that. Okay, so here's our status. This is what we've been doing. All right. So here's our inventory. 233,000 of the ones up down. Go back to that. I'm sorry, here. The water main is in the street. This is looking through the street, kind of underground. The water service line comes up to the meter. This is the part that MLW owns. Up to, we own the meter and this part. from the meter to the house, that's installed by the builder of the home. That's the homeowner's responsibility, what we're gonna talk about now. So, on our side, we've already determined 233,000 are not lead, 239 are galvanized, 16,000 we know are lead that we have to replace, 59,000 unknown. Now, are all the unknown lead? Certainly not. There's gonna be some percentage of that, between 10 and 15%, it's gonna be lead, maybe 20. On the customer side, we know 122,000, but 183,000 are unknown. Why? Because there's not always a good record of what the builder used. Now, two things to remember. We know for sure, after 1955, MLGW never used lead service lines. So if anything built after 1955, we know there's nothing on our side. 1973, the Shelby County government outlawed using lead on the private side. So they said you can't use lead builders. And then in 1986 or so, 86, the federal government outlawed it altogether. That's not that long ago when you think about this, right? But now you know better, you do better. So that's our inventory. And our job now is to replace the ones we know that are galvanized. And then to test all the others. We dig up and check to see, both on our side and the customer side, what it's made of. That's our requirement. So that's the work that we have ahead of us. This is what we've been doing. You can see 9,240 since 2012. We've been doing it on our side. There was no mandate. LGW just determined it was the right thing to do. So we've been digging them up and replacing them on our side. That's as it goes year by year, you see the number of the total here has been slightly increasing every year. At 2024 number, we're not done. So 1,136 so far this year. We'll probably get to 12, 13, 1,400 this year. So when we inspect and look at property records, we're going to send everybody a postcard, which you can see over here. It says, hey, we don't know what your line's made of. We're going to have to do some testing so people know what we're doing. And then we're going to, if people are interested, we'll provide them a water sampling kit at no cost to them so they can send us the one I'm worried about, my lead in my water. They'll send us a sample kit and we'll test it for them free of charge. And then they can have comfort knowing it's on their side. So, and we're developing a plan. If you have a lead service line on your side, again, it's the homeowner's responsibility, but there are going to be income qualifying homeowners. You're going to need some assistance. So we're working on an assistance plan. The federal government's allocated some money for that purpose. So that's what we say. There's federal infrastructure money. This will help us help customers do theirs on the private side. And in order to do that, there's a lot of things you have to think about. Like how much do we think it's going to cost? Are we digging a trench? Or are we going underground? How do we get homeowners permission to do this? What kind of repair do we have to make to the lawn and the sidewalk and all that? So we're going to pilot 24 and 25 with a small number of customers to do this. And then we're also going to develop a program where people can apply for assistance funds. You may be familiar with the city sidewalk program. If there's sidewalks in disrepair, that's the homeowner's responsibility. Many people cannot afford to fix their sidewalks, so they apply for sidewalk repair assistance through the city, and the city will help them offset the cost of repairing their sidewalks. We're looking at a similar program. So this is what you're going to see when you look at inventory. When you go online, it's active right now, right on our website.
It is.
If you go to MLW.com, water inventory.
Water service lines.
Water service lines, excuse me, we'll show you that here. But you'll see on the left side is what the water line is, and we're dealing with the right side of the customers, non-lead, galvanized lead, or unknown, you can see. So this would be non-lead for this customer on the LGB side, galvanized on the property owner side. So every single property that we have has this nomenclature in front of it. So there it is, I'm sorry, there's the LGB.com water service lines. We expect everybody's going to immediately go there and zoom in on their house and say lines unknown, lines lead, what do I do next? So there's EPA guidance there that can tell people what we intend to do and also EPA's mandate what we do. So this is the part we want to tell everybody. We have a 10-year program. The lead copper rule indicates that you have 10 years to get the lead service line out of your system. There can be an extension based on the number you have, but we're starting with 10 years. We think that's about as aggressive Certainly been doing this since 2012. There's the lead copper rule here, this is our inventory. In 2022, through ARPA, under the American Rescue Plan Act, after COVID, we were allocated $5 million. We did not get the notification of award until 2023, but 2022, we were allocated that money, we still haven't spent it. In 2023, through the bipartisan infrastructure law, the state of Tennessee was given $250 million for the purpose of replacing lead service lines through the Drinking Water State Revolving Loan Fund. That's our source of federal money so far, $250 million. So it mandates that we get rid of the lead service lines within 10 years. So we're going to use the ARPA money and the federal money to remove the lead service lines. We already invest about $5 million a year for the water service line replacement. So here's our proposed plan. We're going to use those newly available funds to continue what we do on the public side, and then we're going to make progress on the private side for income qualifying customers. We think we'll do about 10,000 public side, 6,000 private side replacements over that 10 years. That's a little higher than the pace we were doing before. It's about 1,600 a year. We were only doing about 1,100 a year or so. That means we'll spend about $110 million over 10 years to do this. But you'll recall, looking at the inventory, that doesn't look like it's enough to get it all done, right? So we have MLGW money that we'll be continuing to use on the public side, but we need to seek more federal, state, whatever source of funding to get this work done. The federal government has estimated that there's 9 million of these lead service lines. If it's $10,000 per service line, that's a $90 million problem in the country, $90 billion problem in the country. They've allocated $15 billion to the effort. So there's a lot of shortfall there, but everybody's being managed to do it. So we use our annual $5 million in 2025. We're going to do our pilot in 25 and 26. Excuse me, we're going to do our pilot in 24 and 25. And then we're going to use that American Rescue Plan money that we have in 25 and 26. And then every year, we use $10 million of state revolving loan fund, and I'll show you what that looks like. Now, it's a loan, so we have to pay it back. The good news is 50% of it's forgivable. So when we get $10 million from the state, 50% will be forgivable. We have to pay back $5 million. That's good. It doubles our money. So the other thing we want to do with that is, instead of MLW crews doing this, we would like our crews to be the inspectors, and let's get private contractors to do this. They can do it more efficiently, more effectively. They can have more of them, and we can go faster. It also builds a local job base to grow local small companies who want to do the work for us. And what we're really doing is building a program that if we get more money, put money in and expand the program immediately instead of MLW having to be the limiting factor on doing it. So we really want this to be a community-led effort with local contractors who are doing this work for MLW. This is an information sheet which gives you the 5 key highlights of what they want. But that's really it. So we wanted to share with you, number one, this rule came out saying everybody has to get the lead service lines out. It's going to cause some questions. We want people to be able to look at their inventory. Most importantly, we want people to know we are already doing everything that we need to do to keep you safe. We have an anti-corrosive program to make sure that no metals leach into your water. And we have a water testing program. If you're concerned about your water, you can get a test for free. And we've been replacing lead service lines. This tells us we've got to do more of that. And over the next 10 years, we've got to get them all out. The other thing we have to do is we're going to be out there doing a lot of work testing the unknowns. We have to kind of dig 3 times so we can test the pipe in 3 different locations so we can determine for sure what it's made of. Last thing is for customers who might want it replaced. I think it's important to do it all at one time. So if we're doing the public side and you're not an income qualified person, on the private side, we're probably going to say, would you like to have it done on your side at your cost? If you're income qualifying, we'd like assistance having that in place, so it's all done at one time. So that's the basics. Now, there's a lot of things we have to think about. What if it's not a product that residents? What if it's a rental property? How do we get permission? You know, because I know you guys report on this, we have a lot of out-of-state LLCs. How do we get a hold of them to get permission to get on the property? Could be a low-income resident in that property that really wants that done. We have to have a owner's permission. And then the question of, are we using public money on a business, essentially property, business income producing property? So things to work through. That's why we're piloting this. So what questions do you have at this point? I went through fast. We have concierge service.
So is the program already up and running for those that are like on the private side that may want a little, not yet, just want
Not
to.
yet, we're developing that. So
Still
we're doing the
developing
private
that.
side, the pilot. We're gonna do 15 to 20 this year, early next year, so that we can determine, okay, how is this process going to work? And then how do we make it happen? We also have to build a contractor base to help us with this. So we have already contacted some contractors to make sure, see if they're interested. And then we'll engage other contractors as we figure this out, so we can have a bigger base of contractors. So a lot of coordination. A, we have to notify the homeowner. B, we have to get their permission to get on the property. C, are you interested in assistance? Are you eligible for assistance? And then how do we coordinate that replacement all at one time? So a lot of moving parts to coordinate. We're announcing this now because EPA released the rule, and want people to know that we are moving out, moving this thing out.
Do you guys have like an idea of when you want this program to be up and running? I know you guys, like you said, a lot of moving parts, so this could take maybe 3 years or whatever, but do you guys have like a ballpark?
No, we want to, we're going to use 24 and 25, the rest of this year, 25, we're going to use that American Rescue Plan Act to do a lot of testing and to determine the program. By the time we hit the end of this coming year, in 2025, we should be full up and running. We'll be executing $10 million every year, and we think we'll be ready to accept additional federal money or state money or wherever we get the funding from at that point. So we're not going to take several years to spin up. We're just going to use this next 12 months to really get everything stood up so we can be moving forward. We'll continue that pace of public side replacement that we've been doing. And it's okay, you're supposed to replace the whole thing at one time, but there's a lot of private side that are not lead, where there's still some lead on the LGW side. So you saw we had 16,000 known lead on our side, only 1,600 known lead on the private side. So for those ones that are not lead on the private side, we'll replace them.
Now, I know the message to customers today is, you know, obviously that you guys are boots on the ground, and you guys are trying to remove the lead, but what's that other message you want the customers to know here today?
Well, that we continue to produce the best water in the country, that we do everything we can to protect customers, that it is a small percentage of homes in Shelby County that are subject to potentially having a lead service line on the side of their side because we stopped using lead in 1955, and in Shelby County, the builder stopped using lead in 1973. So if your home was built after that period of time, you can take comfort in knowing that you very likely do not have a lead service line. If your home was built before those time frames, please go to our interactive app and you can see whether we know what it's made of or not. And then we will be to your home to determine what it's done and if it needs to be replaced. We're going to be there to replace it on the public side, and we're going to work with you to help yours get replaced on the private side. Again, the anti-corrosive treatment we're doing is best practice today, and it has proven results because we've had a very low incidence of exceedances when customers have asked for tests. So, and if you're concerned, we can provide a test to you at no cost to you.
Is this mandatory for homeowners, say if the person does have lead, but they don't want to go through the rigmarole?
Yeah, it's not mandatory on the private side. So it's interesting because I think the EPA assumes that everybody wants it, but you know we can't compel a private owner to replace theirs. But what we do want to do is we think the majority of people are going to want that done on their side. If you're income qualified, we want to develop a program to help you get that done. Good.
There's the map,
I'm sorry?
the maps of it.
Oh. Okay, do you want to zoom in, Richard? Okay, so this is, if you go to our website, Water Service Lines Inventory, so Richard, just zoom in, or you can type an address in. Do you have an address you'd like to check?
Sure, yes.
Okay, go ahead. Richard, let's type an address in there.
Richard, you got it, I agree.
I'm sorry?
Oh, I got it, I agree.
I agree. There you go. All right, go ahead, pick an address, anyone.
803 Channel 3 Drive.
Okay, there you go. I wonder what's there. There you go. Okay. So, confirmed to be non-lead, confirmed to be non-lead. See you services there. That dot shows channel 3. If you want to click on the dots there, Richard, on the lower right.
Right here?
Yes. Oh, sorry. You click on the address.
Click on the box.
Click on the box. The blue box there.
Well, that's all the information, yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's all the information, but it's confirmed to be, so non-lit service on the private side and the eligibility side. You can zoom out. So here's an example of one. There you go. So all of these homes here are non-lit on both sides. This one is non-lit on the eligibility side, unknown on the homeowner side. So that will have to be inspected. Here's an example of West Carolina. That is a known lead service on the eligibility side and an unknown on the property owner side. So we'll have to change that one and check on the property owner side.
I got address, mine.
Okay, go ahead. While you're here, go ahead.
What's the address? 5043
43.
Hickory Park, 2 words.
You live in Hickory Hill?
In the county.
In the county, I bet
Say Hickory Park.
Hickory Park, I know.
Okay.
When was your house built?
I haven't planned that.
Okay.
Exactly right.
I have the comment. Okay, Hickory Park Drive.
Yeah.
We're going to hit search now. No results. Oh, wait.
Did I do it right?
Who provides your water service? You get it from LGW?
Let me try. Hickory Park.
Is it all one word?
2 words.
Trying to find the one that doesn't come up. Okay, well, what's, you said it was free,
Take out the drive, see what happens.
what is it?
Hickory Park. Do I need to add nothing to this?
No.
Just try like that.
I'll try it.
This, what's across from you?
Ross.
Just zoom out, zoom in, where's it at, where's it near?
I'm like, not even 2 blocks away from Ross Elementary.
What part of town is it in?
Eastman, off of
Eastman.
Chevy Drive.
Okay, zoom out, zoom down, Shelby Drive is down here. Shelby Drive out here. You're somewhere in here.
38141, here we go.
Okay, zoom in. Okay. Give us a sense of where you are out here. Zoom back out a little bit. Shelby Drive and Axe Cross, are you east of there or
Which part?
this
East
way?
of there, yeah. I'm sorry, west of there.
Yeah, west of there?
Yes, sir.
Germantown, Shelby Drive?
Keep going.
Keep going west?
Yeah.
Okay. Keep going west, Richard. Keep going.
The next cross street should be Chevy Drive across.
Oh, here's Ross.
Okay, I see Cherry Bar.
Where's your street?
Ross. And keep going up.
Up?
Oh, my bad. That's okay.
We're full service. Keep going up, Richard.
All right, hold on. Okay. Okay, there it is. You found it?
It's not that dominant.
Is it? Good.
Well, I just want to see it on here if we can find it.
Okay. Let me,
So you see, most of these homes were built in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, so.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
And so we said the Navy is unknown.
The difference between black.
oh, that's the black.
Go down here.
That's the legend.
Well, if you don't have the cursor, you can't look. Can you?
Yeah.
Okay, go back to the,
Let me
If you reload.
just refresh it.
Yeah.
One second. All right.
now just click the,
All right.
click this down here.
Yeah, that's the legend.
So, scroll down just a little bit. Black is unknown. Blue is galvanized. Okay, now scroll up so we can show the gentleman's Hickory Park address.
We found it.
I know, I just want to see it. Now I'm interested. You gonna keep going north? Or what about Burbidge?
I think you might need to go back down.
Oh, down.
Because I'm seeing rain.
Where do you,
Keep, yeah, keep going up.
Up or down?
Mr. Glenn Eagle Shopping Center, we're gonna come back.
All right, well, do I need to go up or do I need to go?
Take a shot.
We get this as we're going too far?
It's gonna be on that side.
It's over here.
Yeah.
This is Kirby, you live this west of Kirby?
Yeah, but I noticed some of these streets, but I just don't see it. Okay. Here's Ross.
This is Kirby Elementary School.
That's Ross. So he needs to come down. He needs to go like toward the south. He
Toward the
needs to
south.
go up.
South is down. Yeah, going down.
Towards Mississippi or towards?
Towards Mississippi.
Okay, go down then.
Ross Elementary is 489 Ross Road, and that'll get us closer. It says across the street.
Yeah, that's like not even 3 blocks, not even 2 blocks away.
Like that. Where's Ross Elementary?
All right.
So where do you live?
So we're gonna be on that.
Down a little bit.
Yeah. That's here, Lake Valley Cove.
Okay.
Here's Hickory Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's Hickory Park right here.
Which house is yours? They're all, so.
Yeah, good.
Whew, all right.
Because of the anti-corrosion that we use, just because you have a lead surface on it does not mean you have lead in it.
That's right.
That's the important thing.
That's an important message. What else?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Sure, well, it's an important issue for us, and we just want to make sure that we let people know. Here's our equity map that shows kind of the